we welcome our first contributor, Deputy Bernard Durkan, who wishes to discuss the recently published UN Special Rapporteur report relating to the use of the pseudo-condition of parental alienation in family law. This is an important matter for you, Deputy Durkan.
And Corla, thank you for allowing me to bring this matter up again, and I know there's a lot of support for the content of the question in this House and outside. But it has recently come to pass that it is an issue that takes up the mind and that discussion in other parliaments as well, including yesterday, the day before, in the House of Commons, and as we now know, at the United Nations, in the Human Rights Council, whereby custody, violence against women and violence against children is the subject matter of discussion, which is a peculiar thing because, as you and I and all of us all well know, I thought we had put in place sufficient protection to ensure that both women and children, and in fact all human beings, have an entitlement to protection in whatever court they may be in, without the prerequisite of complying with this pseudo condition that's supposed to affect a certain number of people. And the report addresses the link between custody cases, violence against women and violence against children, with a focus on the abuse of the term parental alienation and similar pseudo concepts. The fact that this particular pseudo concept was never accredited by peers at the time that it was first floated is a question in itself. The fact that it continues unabated is not a question in itself, because it would appear now that a certain group of people have an interest, for whatever reason I don't know, it hasn't been explained to me, in ensuring its perpetuation, to the continued harassment and disgraceful punishment of women and children. Children who are left crying and whimpering for their mother because allegedly they have been found guilty, pre the court, to this condition of turning the other spouse against the children. I would have thought that it would have been simpler to come to a conclusion that in the case of people falling out of a relationship, there are natural things that happen. Maybe they're not as friendly with each other as they were before. And people who were in a friendly and loving relationship before may well not be in the same friendly and loving relationship afterwards. It depends on what they said to each other and what the level of aggression was, and whether there was physical violence, mental violence, or whatever it is. No human beings, men or women, should be put through that kind of torture, especially authorised torture, especially in the courts, which is supposed to protect them. And I would strongly hold the view that any person, man, woman or child, in the legal system, in the judicial system, in the courts, in whatever way, in family law, are entitled to a fair course, due process and natural justice. It's a good line to abide by in all cases, in any kind of circumstances. And this is particularly so because it affects the custody and the degree to which the custody is bargained around by various sides in the course of the legal proceedings. And I have to say that, I've spoken about it many times in the past, and I know I've spoken to the Minister about it, and to all ministers, several ministers about it. And the problem now is that it has an urgency, because the longer this continues, there are people that I know now who haven't been allowed to see their children. There are women who haven't been able to see their children or talk to them in a year. It is crazy stuff. In this day and age, that we should be subject to that kind of thing. So I have come to the conclusion that there's something there that we cannot determine. That almost as if there were some secret organisation that had a predetermination of an attitude towards women, because they hate women, that's for sure.
Thank you, Deputy Durkan. Minister Butler, thank you for being here to deal with this.
Thank you very much, Ciarán Comhairle. And Deputy Durkan, I want to thank you again for raising this issue. I'd say I have heard you raise this almost a dozen times at this stage. You're very passionate about it, and it is important to discuss the recently published UN Special Rapporteur report relating to the use of the pseudo condition parental alienation in family law, wherein it was found mothers and children are being denied their human constitutional rights. And this is soon to be discussed at the 53rd session of the Human Rights Council of the UN. I would like to convey the apologies of my colleague, the Minister for Justice, Simon Harris, who cannot be here for this matter due to another commitment. On behalf of the Minister, I would like to thank Deputy Durkan for raising this important matter here today and for giving me the opportunity to provide clarity on some issues. As the Deputy will be aware, management of the courts, operational matters and logistical functions are the responsibility of the judiciary and court services, which are independent in exercising their functions under the Court Service Act 1998 and given the separation of powers in the Constitution. Therefore, Minister Harris is unable to comment on any individual case or category of cases, but in fairness to you, you didn't raise any individual case. However, it may interest the Deputy to know that last year, the Department of Justice committed to undertake a public consultation on the issue of parental alienation as part of the Justice Plan 2022. The consultation presented an opportunity for individuals and organisations to offer their views and experiences of parental alienation, its impact and how it could be responded to in the future. It was a completely open process and concluded on the 24th of June 2022. All views, opinions and experiences submitted as part of that consultation have been welcome. Those responses received are currently under review. The Department of Justice also arranged for independent research on parental alienation to be carried out. Minister Harris is pleased to say that a final report has been received by the Department and is currently being reviewed. Department officials are currently working to finalise a report which Minister Harris expects to bring to the information of the Government shortly. Once this has occurred, it is intended to publish both the research report and the policy paper on the Department's website. The report of the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women and Girls, its causes and consequences, Reem al-Salem, which considers the abuse of the term parental alienation and the deliberations of the United Nations Human Rights Council on the report in the coming months, will be fully considered as work in this area is advanced. As acknowledged on the Department's website for the public consultation, there is no clear agreed definition of parental alienation in Ireland, and there are no reliable statistics on its prevalence. The concept and its understanding in international literature, its perception by the stakeholders who engaged with the public consultation, and the consideration by the courts in Ireland is fully explored in the research report.
Thank you, Minister. I very much appreciate you coming into the House, because I know you've taken interest in that particular subject as well, and rightly so. And I thank you for the tone of the reply. And my only comment is in support in thanking you and the Minister for Justice for bringing the matter this far. And I think the next important item is to bring it the rest of the way in the shortest time possible, because women and children, women who are mothers and their children, are suffering in the meantime. And this is not one case or a dozen cases or 24 cases, it's many. And it has caught the attention of the United Nations, rightly so, and something will have to be done about it. The problem is that, as I said originally, that it would appear to me that there's some source that I cannot identify, now the purposes of it I can't identify, whereby a ring of steel is surrounding with the mystery of what happens and why the woman automatically should expect to lose in court. Everybody's entitled to go to court at any time. Then somebody going into court because of her gender or because she has children can expect to lose because of the advice somebody has given to the court. And Supreme Court judge recently has commented on this as well in a critical way, and more of that will follow. So I thank you, Minister, for informing the House to the effect that you did tonight, and the Minister for Justice for moving forward and knowing that there's a strong opposition to doing what should be done.
Thank you, Deputy Durkan.
As the Deputy will be aware, Minister Helen McEntee published the first Family Justice Strategy in November 22, which sets out a vision for a family justice system of the future. This will be a system that focuses on the needs and rights of children, a system that assists their parents in making decisions that affect all of the family, and a system that makes it easier for vulnerable parents and families to get support and make informed decisions. The strategy is foundational in nature, recognising that many issues that currently exist within the system, but outlining the steps needed to move towards a family justice system that is streamlined and user-friendly and which supports and protects children and their families. The Family Justice Strategy is an ambitious and wide-reaching strategy which aims to achieve reform through the implementation of over 50 actions across 9 goals. It prioritises the need and voice of the child, containing a number of actions which stress the importance of children and their needs in a reformed family justice system, that their voices are heard and their views considered in a most meaningful way. Gaurav Mahagut, Deputy.
Your persistence is beginning to pay off, Deputy Durkan.
Well done.